Aloha. Today I wanted to go into the ritual that is all of the holidays and focus on the design of how we interact with time, with each other, with culture, and the old sort of programs that have existed within today's version of civilization, so-called Western society. I just watched last night a few videos on ancient Rome and ancient Greece and how just it was horrible, like how that system, like the mentality, the consciousness of the people at that time frame in those locations, what they were doing, what they were thinking, how they acted, how they treated each other, their laws, their regulations, their it's like today but times 1,000 on how ridiculous this society is. It's just so. If you want to look more about, research more about how jacked up everything is today, look at where Western civilization started. Look at this is all still Greco-Roman. This is Rome. This is Babylon. This is the manifestation of those systems. Your presidents, your constitution, all of this proper sort of mentalities and interactions, the university system and all this stuff is a manifestation of what was going on in Rome. And if you really look at what was going on, like the behavior of the Romans, the mentality, just sick, really, really sick and diseased, completely sick. And that's the peak of the so-called like Rome is like the peak of the so-called white vibrational civilization. That's the peak, and it's been drawn out to today at the expense of the indigenous and the aboriginal people. This is why the peoples, the aboriginal and the indigenous people needed to be labeled as primitive and savage. It wasn't so much to keep us down. It was to build themselves up, the colonizers up, because of where they came from. And you wouldn't know where they came from because you wouldn't have access to their books or anything, but this is why they moved to other places to conquer, to create this shift in consciousness, which this story represents now. And I'm going over this right now because I was looking at the presidential pardon of the turkeys yesterday, and I was just thinking, like, this is not only a slap in the face to all the political prisoners, the sacredness of the connection with spirit and the bird, the political prisoners that are still in jail because of the system itself. But this is also a ritual to make you, just as labeling indigenous people as primitive and savages brings one group of people down and brings another group of people up. The same thing goes for this, the way the system is designed, the way this so-called democracy, which is not at all a democracy. This is I don't even know the word for it, but it's not at all. This is a slave state. It creates this sense of mercy, or this sense of like power, but it's also a ritual. This is an actual ritual. All of these bank holidays, everything that goes on, like, before I go into reading that, I mentioned in the last video how if we want to shift the energy of the system itself, Everything has to be removed. All of these holidays, all of these thought processes, the education system, the university system, the way the political system is designed, all of these programs that are meant to keep us at particular vibrations. It's not just the negative energy, it's the positive energy that's equally paying into how this stuff exists and why it exists. The joy, the connection, the family, all of this energy that's being paid into the system itself when we are so-called given our holidays. Look at even all of our holidays, these largely religious vibrations we call them bank holidays. So your celebration, your connection with your family, the energies of your entire positive emotion in a ocean of negative, hating your job bullshit throughout the year, focus, you're buying presents for your kids. It's all based upon the bankers, the bank vibration, the fiat currency, the slave mind system creating a space for you to breathe. And they call it a bank holiday. So they're giving you something. This is the whole thing. In order to shift this energy, this stuff has to go. Christmas, Thanksgiving, Veterans Day, Columbus Day, Labor Day, Independence Day, Memorial Day, President's Day. All of this shit is based upon destruction. Of course, they got the one black friend in there, the one thing to make it not bad. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, a bank holiday. All of this shit is a ritual. It's an energetic ritual that plays out through the year, that controls the consciousness of the people. It controls your time. It manipulates your relationship to your own fire, to your ancestors, to your... Just as much as you have a connection to the stars and the timing of when you were born, you have to realize that these holidays have that same relationship to you and your vibration throughout the year. It's a constant up and down playing with your vibrations. And when you see this is based upon the military industrial complex, the Christmas and the Saturnalia and the Greco-Roman mentalities, Thanksgiving, the genocide and the massacres of the indigenous people, Veterans Day, the military and prison industrial complex, Columbus Day, the genocide and massacre of the people, Labor Day, paid slavery. It's basically just slavery because that money is nothing. It's empty. Independence Day, war, death, destruction. Memorial Day, war, death, destruction. President's Day, slave masters. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, assassinated by this system, the same banking system. This is a mind control program that you pay into with so-called positive energy. These are your holidays. It's not a holiday. This is a ritual. Thanksgiving Day is a ritual. That pardoning of the turkey, that shit is a ritual. And it plays with the energies overall of the collective consciousness. And we play into these rituals when we conduct these ceremonies. So by the president pardoning a turkey, the people are sacrificing the turkey. So this is just like the gladiator arena. It's like kill, kill, or mercy, mercy, or whatever it is. It's like they are constantly maintaining the space of power of the nicer control. Like they get your president out there to go say, oh yeah, we're gonna pardon you, we're not gonna, and then go engage in you engage in the bloodletting, the sacrificing, the consuming of that flesh outside of all the the storylines that are in this story in referencing the Native Americans, a perspective on the turkey and the relationship. But the Mayan perspective is also a sacred bird. Like the turkey was originally like gonna be the national bird up there in divinity with like the eagle. So there's so many things. I don't really want to get into it because there's so many other things I don't want to get into in this video. But you see where I'm coming from in reference to the ritualistic manners of the banking mentality, the slave mind Western civilization mentality. This is like the church of Hollywood. Like Hollywood is a church. This bank holiday shit is a church. It's not compartmentalized into different religions like we think it is. The civilization based around the fiat currency system, the maritime admiralty system, the military industrial complex, and the prison industrial complex, the colonial system, that's an actual church. It's easy to see that it's a church when you say the Church of Hollywood, because you have your demigods that you worship. You have your communion when you're watching TV or going to the movies and engaging in all this stuff. And the people that worship literally like fainting and crying at the feet of these celebrities, buying all of these t-shirts and clothing, trying to be like these celebrities. This is Babylon. This is what this system is. And until we completely remove these systems and flip this energy, it'll still exist. Like, it's not just the negative energy that they are putting out, but it's the positive energy that we put in, thinking that, oh well, it's just okay because we're not a part of it. No, you're actively engaging in it. Unless you are flipping and reversing it and other time codes. Like, this is like when you think about everybody is celebrating or is participating in the ritual of sacrificing the sacred turkey right now. That's a collective on a national ritual. It's a national ritual in reference to what? We call it Thanksgiving. But that mentality is it's built on the blood and the bones of the ancestors of the native and the aboriginal people. Slavery, sickness, disease, genocide, massacres. Lightened up with a bank holiday and Thanksgiving, where the Pilgrims and the Native Americans came together and did all that other bullshit that you hear in the public education system. That's how it gets sold to us. Like Black Friday is another part of this. It's another ritual. So anyway, you can read this. I would check this out to go in further, but things became very imbalanced. Humans became fearful and unsure. We lost understanding the Creator's patterns and fell into suffering, and the illusion of separation became larger than our faith and drifted in an ocean of tears and painful remorse for our act of greed and for breaking the trust of Creator. The essence of this shift that this story is referencing is celebrated by the so-called civilization that we are within today. It's amplified by the system when they make these holidays and do all these rituals like this. And then we pay into it. So when you think that, like, when you see that the turkey and all this stuff is being sacrificed in this time frame, you have to see the spiritual side of this. This is where I'm coming from. This is really what I want to focus on. The spiritual vibrations of these so-called bank holidays, Black Friday, all of these acts. These are rituals. And when you see that these are acts and rituals coming from a foundation of people, groups, the colonial mindset that has zero connection with spirit. The university system is inherently atheist. Zero connection with the Creator. Zero connection with that. Yet, you are still engaging in ceremony, in rituals. Why? What does that mean? What kind of magic is that? What kind of alchemy is that? If you are engaging in a ceremony with a group, a mindset that is very much within the government, very much within the system itself. It's a bank holiday. Your president of this slave state actually has a turkey ceremony every year where he so-called pardons this turkey, and you sacrifice the turkey. This is a ritual sent down from a mentality that has zero connection to spirit. What kind of magic is that? You already know what kind of magic that is because you can see it every single day. It's going on and on and on. And it's based upon this separation that we are existing in today. And we actually, your belief systems actually make it real. And I wanted to bring up this whole, just kind of mention this to also expand upon this, because people talk about, oh, the Simpsons, or they predicted this, and there's a programming this and all this other stuff, as if this is a mistake, as if they are, something's kind of like it's separate from the system. The Simpsons, Family Guy, all this shit, it's all one mind control program. People see this and they focus on the information that was planted in these predictive programming or these cartoons in the consciousness. So we see it as like subliminal or subconscious programming, when in fact it's really part of the entire design to channel your focus at a particular time frame. So really, when this Trump stuff was put into the Simpsons programs, like however many years ago, and 9/11 was put into the programs however many years ago, you don't think that these writers aren't aware of this stuff, as powerful as these TV shows are? They know about this stuff. They are told to put this stuff in there. So my question is, why? Because it's not really going to matter at the time frame that they're subliminally planting these seeds. It's only going to matter in the future when this stuff actually takes effect. And it's not as fluffy as I'm seeing it as like predictive programming, and then it creates this reality. I don't see it as that anymore. I'm seeing this now just like I see all the other mainstream programs like Alex Jones and TYT. It's creating a focus and energy. So it's not so much that when people see this, they they think like, oh, there's good people in the system. Like, since it's cartoons, they're trying to tell us something. They're trying to let us know that, bad things are coming down. No, these motherfuckers are walking hand in hand with the same people who are pushing these buttons and flipping these switches on these actual events. It's the same program. So the why of that same program, how I'm seeing it, is that just like Alex Jones and TYT and all the other distractions in the mainstream media itself, which Simpsons and Family Guy are a part of, they mean to focus your energy. They mean to steal the storyline, to get the storyline and have you focus on something and have you talking about something. Because if you are talking about that one thing, then you won't be looking past that program to see what else exists, to see what you can create, to see how far you can go outside of that storyline. Just like a Kanye West. This is the same thing. The Simpsons talking about 9/11 and Trump, however many years ago, is the same reason like they utilize these people like a Kanye West to talk about the Illuminati and a Alex Jones to talk about Americanism and Trump. They want you to focus your energy on a particular vibration, a storyline vibration. And when you focus on that, then that allows the system to run whatever other storylines in and around that vibration. And as long as you fall in between and in and around any of those vibrations, then you're locked. You're sucked in. They got you. Because now you are disempowered. You have your focus is on the storyline. So like this, the single storyline, the mainstream is like the center, the core. Then you have outside of that core, you have like the Simpsons, predictive programming. And then you have the Illuminati and the conspiracy theories. Then you have Kanye West talking about this. All of these people are still a part of this system. They're still a part of this mind control program. Any one of these programs they don't have any power or any control over the system itself. So it's meant to plant seeds, to have those seeds grow at a particular time and grow in to cloud your vibration and steal your time. And by the time those seeds come to fruit, grow into a tree and grow into a fruit, you've just lost 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years of your time and focus because you waited on Alex Jones to tell you what to do. You waited on the system to implode. You waited on your president to do something for you. You waited for things to change instead of activating your fire, your imagination, your intuition, your vibrations that exist outside of those storylines to go into the world outside of the slave state, the slave mind program. There are some stories they will never talk about. The system itself, mainstream, alternative, conspiracy, the list goes on and on and on, because those storylines are too powerful. They are too wrapped up in removing the entire system as a whole and connecting people as a whole, which is actually just the truth. The true stories of the people, the true stories of humanity. All of this shit that exists outside of the Columbian, or that exists within the Columbian era. All of this, including the university system, NASA, the transhumanism program, everything that is building up the so-called powers that be today, exists in a bubble. It exists in a bubble of mentalities. And if you pop that bubble and you start going into pre-colonial civilization, pre-Columbian era, then you start to unravel the origins of the supremacy program, the origins of racism, true racism, the origins of slavery that includes genocide and massacres and the damn near extinction of the indigenous people and the Aboriginal people of Australia and so on and so forth. And the reasons why we are labeled savage and primitive, the reasons why people are sacrificed on the streets, the reasons why lynching and segregation was made legal, the reasons why the civil rights time frame did what it did in order to create a foundation for what is happening today. This is a chess game. If you start going into the way this program has already been, the books, the story, read the stories of and follow your own. As somebody was asking me I know I recommend any books. Your book. Read your book. Find out who and what you are. I don't like really recommending any kind of stuff because I'm creating a line. I know I can do that, but I don't feel like I don't know. It just doesn't feel. It feels more right for an individual to read their own book, find out who you are, and in that challenging of yourself trying to read your own book, then you will see what other books you are interested in, because there are other books that people that you relate to, that your storyline, your ancestors relate to, that people have already been writing these books. So as long as you figure that out, then you'll have. You wouldn't have any questions. You'll be overwhelmed with information to look into. So we won't be able to get into that space until we start to remove the systems that are designed to keep us locked into this mentality. And this program is designed to protect itself. Like I said in the last video, this program is designed to make it look like it cares for you, to make your slavery look and seem happy-go-lucky. It has zero interest in you. And the grid itself, the matrix itself, and maybe I will go into that because all right, this system is designed when you lump everything together, like the technological, the transhumanism agenda, the gay agenda, the globe model programming, all of these systems, CERN, all this shit is designed to make you believe in something and have you walking blind. Before I get into that storyline, I wanted to close this out of realizing like how this system makes you think a certain way. Like this is a good example. Like when I was a kid, I thought quicksand was going to be a much bigger problem than it is. This is the same thing. It's the same program. It's the mind control program of the television, of your history books. They make you feel, think, and act a certain way with vibrations of your emotional body. And that's how you get to voting a certain way. That's how you get to believing into the two-party system. That's how you get to defending a Donald Trump or defending a Hillary Clinton or even defending a Bernie Sanders. And these people are defending an Obama. These people have zero concern for you. Zero at all. So just as much as you are taught to hate or think that to be scared of like quicksand, the same thing happens in reference to hatred and fear. It's an agenda. So as long as you are taught by the mainstream media, by your presidents, your politicians, your history books, to think a certain way and not think another way, then that sets the precedence for going to war with other countries and dropping bombs on other people. For what? For the expansion of this empire. So just as much as they made you fear quicksand as a kid, now you're fearing North Korea. And you're fearing all the other people they told you to fear. When what's happening? It's actually the Western military that's actually doing all the bombing and invading and putting all these military bases all over the place. Do you see North Korea going into other countries and blowing up other stuff? No, what's actually happening? Iraq, Iran, Libya, Palestine. The list goes on and on and on. That's actually happening. But you think it's okay because of the way the storyline is told. because they tell you, we're the good guys. We're the good guys. Just like Thanksgiving. We're the ones doing all this. And those are the bad guys. The system is designed to make you desensitized and love this program. Worshipping the villain itself. And this new form of mind control program, which is the internet and like YouTube, is a complicated version of this expansion. And this is a good example of it, how they lighten this shit up like it's a fucking joke. Like Saturday Night Live teaming up with politicians and doing all that stuff and making light of the system. It's a joke. They're desensitizing you. Thanksgiving is a desensitization program. Columbus Day, Independence Day, Memorial Day, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, all of those bank holidays, Christmas, when you go into Saturnalia and the origins of that time frame back in the Greco-Roman time frames of what they used to do. It's a ritual, ceremony, and a desensitization program as of today, because they could outwardly do it back in the day. They didn't have to desensitize you because you were just agreeing with how the civilization was, and you'll just have a baby and throw a baby up into a pile of shit because you didn't have any connection with humanity. That's how they aborted babies. They would have a baby and just throw it into the garbage can. It's a desensitization program. And these videos like this, Adam ruins everything and all this other shit. Not just this, but like the stuff they don't want you to know. Like that shit makes you focus on one storyline and not focus on other storylines. Yes, it's revealing information, but you're still in a box. You're still in a bubble. The other side of this is to lighten it up. When they have this guy, Adam ruins everything. He tells you the truth and gives you facts and sources and resources about, how these for-profit prisons are out there, locking people up and keeping people in jail. And it's really bad, It's really bad. We should really do something about it. You think that things are changing because now College Humor has done a video on private prisons. But you don't see that the desensitization program itself is affecting you on a vibratory level, on a subliminal, subconscious, vibratory level. And it's keeping you from actually engaging in your reality and seeing how far this goes because you think things are changing. When you see President Obama on Viceland talking to college students about education, you think things are changing. When you see like Vox do a story on how America became a superpower, or Adam Ruins Everything talks about weed is illegal, the sinister reason weed is illegal, you think things are changing, so you'll just keep going on and on about your day. It's controlling with information, keeping you in the bubble, desensitizing, lightening it up. This is a big fucking joke. This is why I have this picture on here. This is a big fucking joke to them. They're making a joke. And people are going to say, oh, he's sharing information. It's a good thing. No, I can see how it's a good thing. That's obvious. But none of this shit, when it's involved in this system, is ever obvious. The obvious storyline is never the fucking reason why this stuff exists. There's always an opposite end to this. There's always a balance to the reasons why this stuff is promoted. There's a reason why those trending videos exist. So when you have, it really pisses me off because this is the slave program itself. When you have so-called black women as the getting locked up, the highest rating locked up group of people in the country, and then they make a fucking TV show about it, like Orange is the New Black, like it's a game. It's entertainment for them. The system, your enslavement is entertainment. It's a joke. They're literally making money. These banking systems, the same bankers, the corporations that give you your so-called bank holidays and have you running these rituals and ceremonies during certain times and never engaging in your reality because you think it's all okay, are the same corporations that are building up these private prisons in cahoots with the politicians and the government to get more inmates in there, to have more people locked up in the prisons than there were people enslaved in the slavery time frame today. And as long as they keep lightening it up, you're simultaneously thinking that things are changing and simultaneously thinking that not doing anything, desensitized to how this stuff works. And they put these fucking people out here and have these so-called ceremonies like things are changing. This is another thing. Obama has declared November National Native American Month. And they're using water cannons, tear gas, pepper spray, concussion grenades out there. This is a mind control program. It's built upon distraction, desensitization, and playing with the emotional body, disempowering you from your focus. This is how all this stuff exists, to keep you from engaging and challenging the system itself. As long as you keep believing that these things are changing, you won't do anything about it. And you see, even in the image in here, this is one of the main images about Thanksgiving. And it looks like the Native Americans are being fed by the pilgrims, when in fact, it was the other way around. That's the essence of this story, this mind control program. They change history. They change the present moment in order to project the future that maintains whatever storyline they want to exist, that will allow the so-called they to remain in power and you to keep killing yourselves and engaging in these rituals. So it makes one people look like a certain vibration, like one people look bad and other people look good. The haves and the have-nots. And this is a church. Hollywood is a church. Bank holidays, these are rituals. Sacrificing of that turkey on a collective scale, on top of the blood and bones of the indigenous and aboriginal people. It's a ritual of disempowerment, desensitization, and blood. It's a blood ritual. And since it's called Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving, and then people say, oh, well, we're not a part of that. We're not, we know what happened. We're just saying, this is about thanks and giving. No. You're deeper than that. There's a deeper layer. So that's pretty much it. I wanted to get into how the system is designed, like the matrix itself is creating Like Tron, like you've seen the movie Tron. If you've seen the movie Tron, you can understand that the human guy goes into the grid, which is all a computer program. He goes into the computer, and the computer bad guy is trying to get out so he can invade the human world, because he's trapped in that computer world, and he can only destroy or repurpose programs. He can't create. He doesn't have the ability to create. And you don't have the ability to create when you separate yourself from spirit. This is what these individuals who are in control or in so-called power have done. They have separated themselves from spirit, so they can't create. They can only destroy or repurpose energy. And the only way that the so-called powers that be can have a creative experience is if they create a mentality, a ritual, a ceremony that the actual creator beings believe into reality, and empty out themselves, empty out their souls to the umpteenth degree, so that these disembodied entities can live a beautiful golden life at the expense of other people's blood, genocide, and massacre. This is what Thanksgiving is. This is what Christmas is. They used to actually do sacrifices, invite people over to the house and sacrifice people on Christmas. You see all this Christmas shit all over the place? Thanksgiving, genocide, and massacres, all this shit. This is to create, and no different. There's no separation between this and the transhumanism agenda. And I might as well go into it because I'm pretty sure the video is still running. But just like the Matrix itself and the movie Tron, the Tron Legacy movie, it came out in 2010. The words that were used in there is to lighten it up. So he says biodigital jazz, man. Like it's a good thing. Like it's a good thing to merge man with technology. A digital frontier to reshape the human condition. This is that mentality that the university system is selling to you. And you will only buy this if you have been dumbed down to the umpteenth degree and been sick and diseased for so long that you need technology to close that gap. This is why you're being genetically modified. This is why you're being fluoridated. So like I said, the controller of that grid matrix is Clue, who can't create programs. He can only destroy or repurpose them. So this is what's happening to the collective as a whole. And the so-called creator, which is actually the human, the human that got trapped into the grid, he's the actual creator. He's a real, they call him a user. He's a real blood being, while the other people are just computer programs. And they need his essence to get out of the grid into the real world and conquer the real world. But this is what's actually happening. This is why I wanted to relate it to this. It's actually happening already, but it's happening in reversed order. Instead of the computer program, the grid coming out of the system and into the real world, it's bringing the people from the real world, the organic world, into the grid world. So you are buying into the grid when you are accepting yourself, you're engaging in this technological environment to be more of your reality than your organic nature. So it's happening in reverse order. And what happens is, once the transhumanism mentality gets adopted completely, or this technology moves into your body, it's already being like an addiction already. You already can't go anywhere without your phone. You have a dependency to technology already. So you're already locked into the grid. It's in your psyche. It's on your body. The vibrations, that radiation, it's part of you. People feel a certain way. Like when I stopped on Facebook, I felt like my body felt a certain way. For those first few weeks, I felt off. Something was wrong. Until it was like a month and a few months, and then it was a total release. That's an actual energy. The same energy of when you leave the house and forget your phone, like you feel a certain way, that's an actual thing. It's an actual program that exists, and it will be passed down to generations. You will pass that shit down to generations. So think about how that energy exists right now, how it's going to exist in your children and your grandchildren and their children. Like they will be sucked into that mentality, that energy. That's being locked into the grid. And that's the intention of this separation program as a whole. It's not just about control of the people through the mentality of the prison industrial complex and the military industrial complex. The further story beyond that is the soul slave enslavement, the spiritual separation and control. That's actually the foundation of these entities that are within this mind control program. The section that we are in right now is just like slavery was a section in time where they can control your body. Now we're in a section in time where it's in a mind control program. The next section in time is the soul control program. And all of them need to be dumbed down and disempowered in order for a disembodied entity to live a 99th percentile experience through the belief structures and the rituals and the ceremonial, the energies of the collective consciousness. And that's how this grid can have the idea of a creative experience. Not completely, because it's chosen to separate itself from spirit, so it won't have, but it can have an artificial, a synthetic creative experience. This is what transhumanism is. This is what the mainstream media is. This is why Hollywood and all this shit is so fake. Hollywood is the church, like singing the choir, you're singing, clapping your hands, doing the jumping to the beat. That's what Hollywood and movies and the music industry is. You're in church, but the energy of it is actually giving your spiritual essence away to the mind control program as a whole. Buying into the grid, buying into the idea of the future. So your so-called leaders, like your politicians, make you believe in giving your time away to the so-called true democracy, or the new world, the new age, the new everything that is new. And dumbing down of that which is old. So it's an indoctrination to what is so-called normal, and a destroying of that which is natural. And the only way you can separate yourself from that which is natural is if you have zero connection with it. You don't care, because you only care about that which is synthetic. You only care about Facebook. You only care about Instagram and selfies and the way you look, and the way you go into the gym and working on your body and all this physical, dense bullshit that has nothing to do with your spirit. Ultimately, as long as you're focused on the physical reality, you won't challenge the mind control program. And if you don't realize that you're in a mind control program, then you won't be able to challenge the soul control program. So that's pretty much what I wanted to reference with this as far as the technology being engaged in the enslavement program, and how, just like the movie Tron, it's not so much as us being invaded by the grid, it's that we are being mind controlled into wanting the grid, like needing the grid in order to maintain, in order to create a system where the grid itself becomes God. Your university system is your God. It's your church. Just like the Church of Hollywood. It's one church, the Mind Control Program Church. The Church of Mind Control. That's what this is. The grid is overtaking nature. And they use, like I mentioned earlier, The Simpsons and the system itself to have you focus on a particular chapter of the Mind Control Program book and think that things are changing, or think that, you're in the know. You're not. You're in the ignorant. Still in that bubble. Calling yourself conscious and woke and all that other shit. Until you inhabit your own fire and empower yourself to challenge the entire system itself, until that happens, collectively, we'll still be walking into that bubble of the next layer of mind control. Like I said, and I'll end it on this. Slavery, they had control of the body, because they can just convince you that to put chains on you, whip you up, and do all that other stuff, and pick cotton, and build the foundation to the industrial age, so they can build these computer programs, and then set up a mind control program with the television and the smartphones and the YouTube, the internet, and all these Facebook and all this other stuff, which is the mind control program to set up the foundation for the soul control program, all based upon separation. And as long as you've been beaten down physically, then you're psychologically beaten down, and all they got to do is move into the next program, which is creating another system that you'll adopt, you'll believe, because now you're in that Stockholm syndrome. You want something from the system. You need it. You need it to give you whatever it is that they told you that you need. So that's pretty much it. Shit. Yeah, I had some other things I want to mention, but I'll save it for the next video. So thank you for joining me, and until next time, from all my relations, peace, love, and harmony.